Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is part 2 of a 7-part series on what I'm doing to advise consulting clients at the moment as we all prepare for what is a very challenging time for the coffee industry, despite what people may be telling you. So in the last episode, we spoke about business fundamentals, and today we're going to talk about managing your business. You ready? Let's do it. This podcast is brought to you by Map It Forward's new Patreon community, the Global Coffee Think Tank. Check the show notes or head to patreon.com/Map It Forward to find out how you can become a member today. Okay, so managing your business. How am I focusing at the moment with consulting clients on managing their business during very challenging times? Well, there's 3 things we're specifically looking at the moment. And the first one is managing your budget and your capital requirements. So a lot of businesses don't seem to have a clear understanding of what we call their runway. So how many months can they operate, all things being equal right now? How many months do they have cash flow available to them to operate their businesses? If, let's say, something were to happen and again they had to close down, a lot of businesses a couple of years into a pandemic don't really have much of a runway left. So people are experiencing challenges for a number of different reasons. Some of my clients, business is booming, they're going gangbusters, and they've got somewhere up to 6 months to 12 months of a runway. That's not the challenge that they're facing. The challenge is that with the growth that they're experiencing, they can't get access to a labor force that they need to help them keep up with that growth. But the majority of businesses are not in that scenario. The majority of businesses are living month to month, and the runway that they have is literally 1 month. Now, that's the reason that's nerve-wracking is because we have things like inflation that are going to incrementally start to creep into your business. They already are creeping into your business, whether you realize it or not. And what that ends up doing is it reduces your runway because you are having to shell out more and more money for things that are becoming less and less available. Those things are labor, different cogs, raw materials that you use to create your product, other services, experiencing an increase in costs as well. So they're driving their prices up. So the budget that you are exposing yourself to right now is likely to change. So if you believe that it costs you $25,000 a month to run your business and you're unaware of what challenges might be coming, not factoring in things like where inflation is most likely to hit and what your opportunities are aside from that, are likely to leave you with a shorter and shorter runway. And if that happens, you are going to end up not being able to pay your suppliers. If that goes on for too long, you'll end up going out of business. So understanding what your budgetary requirements are, which unfortunately a lot of businesses are not across. They think, well, I need this much for wages and I need this much for rent and this is how much I need for coffee. It's a little more involved than that. Sure, it's great that you know what your big ticket items are, but it's the hidden costs that are going to get you. And understanding what the capital requirements are going to be for any kind of growth projects that you're going to need. So do you have access to lines of credit? Or do you not have access to any kind of backup reserves of capital if you need it? So that's one thing that we're very much focused on when it comes to business management. The other thing we're focused on is organizational structure. So your organizational structure is, how is the structure within your business from a decision-making perspective, from a labor force perspective, who's responsible for making decisions, who's responsible for carrying out the work, who's responsible for alerting leadership to any problems that may be on the horizon. So how is your org structure working? Is it a flat structure? Is it still in alignment with those values that we spoke about in the last episode, or does it need to change? Now, your organizational structure is important because it informs your communication strategy, which is another really, really important element of managing your business. What is your communication strategy around solving problems? What is your communication strategy around running your business day to day? What is your communication strategy around hiring and exiting employees? All of these things are supremely important to running a really good business, but it can often be those kinds of things that are out of the reach of a business owner who is trying to wear all the hats all of the time. Which leads me to my final business management tip that I want to give you that we are focusing heavily on with our clients, and that is, what are the potential challenges that come ahead? Now, as a consultant in the coffee industry, some people call it a coffee consultant. I consider myself either a small business consultant or a business development consultant in the coffee industry. My main job as a consultant is to foresee the blind spots that my clients may not be able to anticipate. And I've been in the industry 20 years. I've owned I've owned a number of businesses in the coffee industry, and I've worked at numerous different places in different positions. That allows me the opportunity to foresee perhaps blind spots that people coming into the industry could never in a million years see. And this is a skill that I focus a lot of time teaching our clients, because it's important that you can start to ask yourself the questions that will uncover potential blind spots before they show up. Of course, experience is the thing that informs you the most about what potential blind spots could come up. But if you can see what you're most likely to be challenged by, you are in a much better position to predict the blind spots that are coming. For example, if you are informed about what's going on with the economics of the country that you're living in and your business is operating in, if you're aware of the different things that are happening there, you're able to more likely predict whether a recession is likely to happen or not likely to happen. And if you can know that there's a potential recession coming sometime in the 12 months or 24 months, it can get you prepared for the way that you're going to make decisions in the coming future. And that's just one example. Another example, for the past 12 months, we have been heavily focused on getting our clients ready for supply chain constraints. And we are now starting to see clients say, I've gone to my suppliers and they're now running out of the goods that we asked them how long that they would have supply for that. So we've kicked in our plan of action to get that we have spent the past number of months getting them ready for. But this is a very real thing. So if you are aware that supply chain constraints are on the way and they're happening and it's a very real thing, you're not just going off hype that you're hearing from people on the internet. If you've done the research and you know that this is a very real thing, you can take the steps to anticipate the challenges that your business will experience if those things end up eventuating. So for those who did take note of the things that we had been talking about, congratulations. I hope you took action and you followed through and got your business ready for the supply chain constraints that are happening. Now, this is obviously just 4 things that we spoke about that are really important when it comes to managing your business. You use the fundamentals that we spoke about in the last episode to help you make decisions about improving your strategy around managing your business. It's a constant growth experiment of sorts because you got to try new things all the time to see if they're going to work. And that's just the way that business goes. Some of it's going to work well. Other things that you try are going to fail. But it's this constant evolution of knowing what to do and how to fail up. So how do I give this a go, protect myself as much as I can from failure, and how do I recover if I do fail? Now, there are of course going to be some things that happen that nobody could foresee. But being as prepared as you can puts you in a mind frame of, okay, I've solved a number of problems that came before this. This one blindsided me, but I'm ready. No matter what shows up, I'm going to be able to fix it. I'm going to be able to do it with the utmost dignity and grace without screwing other people over, which is something I'm absolutely insistent on with all of my clients. I hope you found this helpful. I hope that it is helping you to think about the way that you are participating in your own business and the way that you are approaching what, as I said, is likely to be very challenging next 2 years in the coffee industry. Peace of and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.